Hello there, and welcome to Music is Your Friend. You can make studio quality recordings at home for the price of an iPhone. Find out how after the theme music. Boom! Of course, I didn't pick the cheapest iPhone, and I also didn't pick the most expensive iPhone, but it is almost the most expensive iPhone that's currently on the market. The iPhone in question retails for $1249. Oh my god, that's a lot of money for a phone. I mean, on one hand, I'm kind of glad that you can actually make studio quality recordings for a modest amount of money. Well, relatively modest amount of money. And on the other hand, it's really sad that we're paying more than $1,000 for a phone. I mean, I'm not, but that's still a lot of money. But anyway, let's go back to studio quality audio. The truth is, if you take a sound card which is called the Behringer Euphoria and it retails for $35, you can plug it into your computer that you already have at home and you can get studio quality sound. And if you have some knowledge and you buy like a $60 microphone, you could probably get some really good recordings. And actually, with a lot of knowledge and a lot of post-production, you could take your recording and put it next to a recording that probably cost a fortune. It was recorded in a famous studio by a famous producer, and a casual listener actually couldn't tell the difference. That being said, most computers that people have at home aren't that powerful, like some $3 laptop from a big retail store. But even with that kind of like a crappy computer, you can still make studio quality recordings. You can do multi-track recording, and you can make songs, produce them, export them, and make music. However, if you open up a serious project file, some famous song, you're gonna find like 100 or more channels of audio or like a 4-piece band. And since there's a lot of processing that happens on every channel, your computer probably won't be able to handle all of that processing. Therefore, I believe that you should have a computer that you can work on basically lag-free. So a computer that can handle all of the audio tracks, that can handle all of the processing and the plugins needed to wrap up a project. Some gaming computers can actually be really good for doing audio, but even with gaming computers that have a crazy amount of processing to them, you still need knowledge because gear itself is not enough. And by saying knowledge, I also mean that knowledge that extends to buying studio gear and buying good microphones in order to record, because some of the stuff, the complicated electronics that live inside studio gear can actually provide better results. Another truth is that even if you took like the cheapest gear in the world and gave it to a world-class mixer like Andrew Sheps, for example, if you just gave him a pair of headphones, just by using his knowledge and experience, he could probably make a world-class mix even on crappy gear. Excuse me. Budget gear or beginner gear. Another truth. Beginner gear doesn't exist. That's just a marketing ploy. In order to make a home studio or any studio these days, you need software. You need a computer. You need an interface or a sound card. You need to monitor your mix in some way, preferably with a pair of studio monitors and not headphones. And you need a microphone. These are, I believe, the 5 things that you need in order to create your home studio or any studio for that matter. Now, there are some other things that you need for your home studio, like extension cords, power strips, some sound dampening material, a bunch of other stuff, but this differs from situation to situation. And I will make a video about these things, but I really can't get into it in this video, because in this video, I will just give my recommendations on what you can buy to build a home recording studio for a price of an iPhone. A home recording studio that you can get professional results with, and all of that for a price of one iPhone. So let's begin. Number 1, software. Depending on your needs, some software can actually dictate what hardware you need to buy in order to run that software. The kind of software that you're looking for is called a DAW, so a digital audio workstation. There are a lot of DAWs out there, and some of them cost a lot of money and some of them don't cost a lot of money, and some of them are actually free. Now, to be completely honest, they all have their flaws, but to me they all sound really similar, and how a particular DAW sounds actually wouldn't be a buying factor for me. I also think that some DAWs are really too expensive for what they are actually worth. Some musicians or producers actually prefer a certain DAW for convenience. For example, many EDM guys are into Ableton Live and they only use that program and that's it. And if you want to use Ableton Live, you need to buy it and spend a little bit more money. Well, a lot more money. Another example is Logic Pro X. It only works on Apple computers or on Macs. It also works on Hackintoshes. So if you want to work in Logic, you need a Mac or a hack. Now, regardless of your budget, I actually recommend that you start working in a DAW or a DAW called Reaper. The license for a Reaper actually costs only $60 and you can do everything in Reaper. And best of all, you actually don't need to, pay that $60 immediately. Now check out Reaper's history and check out Reaper's licensing deals because you might be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, the guys that made Reaper did an excellent job and they deserve to have money thrown at them. So again, I highly recommend that DAW over other DAWs. And a DAW is just a tool, and if you learn to use Reaper, you can basically work in any other DAW. All DAWs kind of sound the same and they do the same thing. And most importantly, you can make a good song in every DAW. So a DAW actually isn't an obstacle, and you can't use it for an excuse for not making a good song. You can find out more about Reaper in the link provided below in the description. Number 2, a computer. Again, if you have a decent computer, you might not need a new one, especially if you're just learning and you're not opening 100+ track projects. You could probably upgrade your existing computer that you have at home, to make it more suitable for making music. Like you could put an SSD inside of it instead of using a regular hard drive. You could probably add more RAM. If you want to do audio, if you have a computer at home, by just upgrading it, you can save a lot of money by not buying a new computer, and you can spend that money on more quality studio gear or something like that. Now, if you need to buy a dedicated computer to do audio, I recommend that you don't buy a laptop. I recommend that you buy a tower and that you build it yourself, because a decent audio engineer should know how to build a computer by himself. I also don't recommend buying anything from Apple. Regardless if it's an iMac or a MacBook Pro or something, they cost a lot of money and you're not getting your money's worth. Another reason that I don't recommend buying a laptop or buying like an iMac is that, those are laptop components and they're stuffed into a housing which is really small. I found that, these like slim housings don't have enough ventilation in order to cool down and, for those components to actually work properly. I mean, these components work, but you're gonna put a lot of load on them, and when you put a lot of load on them, these components get hot. So I recommend getting a computer that will serve you in the long run and that you can actually upgrade whenever you get enough money to upgrade something. However, if you want to work in Logic Pro, then you will need a Mac. But I still don't recommend getting a Mac. I recommend that you build yourself a Hackintosh. With a Hackintosh, you can get a better computer for less money. There are numerous sources in order to build a hack, and there are multiple videos where people share their experiences. So if you're into that, I recommend checking out how to build a Hackintosh. However, if you work in Reaper, just make a good computer. And these are my recommendations in order to make a good computer. Now keep in mind that these recommendations are given to you in late 2018 or early 2019. And if you ask me for recommendations like 5 years from when this video actually came out, I would probably recommend some other stuff. So in order to build a computer, I actually went to an online store. But if I checked out the classifieds and if I went to look for some used parts, I could probably build a really good computer for even less, or for peanuts. But in my mind, my goal for this recommendation was to build a computer that can, that's probably in the class of kind of an older MacBook Pro or an older iMac, because that's kind of suitable for recording, and and it will be suitable for at least a couple of years. And a lot of people actually still work on these computers, or computers of that processing power. Actually, some audio producers have even less processing power, but that doesn't stop them from making a good mix. So let's check out my recommendations for your computer. I recommend getting an AMD Vishera series, the A350 model. It costs about $120 and it comes with a Wraith cooler, which is kind of more quiet. I found a motherboard that can fit that processor, and it's in $63. You can get a brand new case for $20, but you can also use an old one if you have it at home. But I still recommend that you get like a housing, that has USB 3. Currently, 60 gigs of DDR3 RAM can be bought for like $100. And for around $100, you can get a screen that has the same panel in it as an iMac. The screen is made by HP or Hewlett-Packard, but the panel inside is made by LG. Although for that amount of money, I recommend getting a larger screen, but this one has all the pretty colors. A mouse and a keyboard cost around $20. You can get a 240 gigs SSD for like $40, and you can get like a 2 terabyte drive for storage for like $50. So in order to record audio, you actually don't need like a big graphics card, but I do recommend getting something fairly decent, and the RX 550 is like $75, so just get that. So for under $600, you can actually get a computer that can match up to all of these like 2015 MacBooks and all of that stuff, and you can record music with it. Also, if you're buying a new computer, just check out the refurbs. There are some parts that are labeled as open box, and they are like dirt cheap and they're new, so you can save some money there. You can find all of these products in the link below, and if something changes on the market, I will probably revise my suggestions and just change them without telling you, because I don't know how. So please check out the link below. If you made it this far in the video, just please click that subscribe button that you can find underneath the video, because it really means a lot to me. Back to the video. Number 3, interface. So you basically need an interface or a sound card. That makes perfect sense because you're recording audio. The type of interface that you actually need is dependent to the type of music or the type of audio work that you actually want to do. If you're planning on recording multi-track drums, especially like if it's a large metal set that has numerous elements to it and you have to mic every single one of them, a simple 2-channel interface just can't cope with that, because it doesn't have enough inputs or microphone inputs, so you actually can't record that. Now that's also true if you want to record a whole band with like separate instruments, and on top of that you actually need more microphones and a room to put that band in to actually play. So that's a whole different ball game, and if you want to record all of that stuff, I don't recommend that you get the interface that I'm going to recommend in this video. For the sake of this video, I'm only talking about like a home studio that can record just a couple of channels at a given time. However, I actually wanted to include like an option where you can add more channels easily by using an ADAT, but I just didn't find a sound card that was suitable for that kind of thing. There are some other reasons why I actually recommended this gear and not some other gear. I believe that an interface should have at least 2 headphones out, so if you're recording a guy that's in the same room as you, you don't have to reach for the volume knob all the time. You can just turn off the monitors and plug in 2 headphones and just kind of listen to what that guy's listening and mix accordingly. Many producers, when they mix, they kind of want to listen to their mix on different volumes. Some of them play with their knob all the time, and for those reasons I believe that you should have a big knob. Sometimes I feel like I'm 13. I was of course referring to having a large potentiometer on your interface that has a big plastic cap over it, which is called a knob, so you can control the volume more easily, because you don't want to fidget around different small potentiometers. Another point is to get better preamps that have a pad on them, so I actually don't recommend skimping on the interface. Therefore, I recommend that you get the Mackie Big Knob Studio. It's actually called the Big Knob Studio. It has decent preamps and a whole bunch of stuff that I said earlier. However, if you're not planning on, recording much vocals and you just kind of want to mess around with samples, in that case, I recommend getting the Behringer Euphoria UMC 202 HD. Oh my god. It costs around $90 and it's a really good sound card. However, if you want to go really cheap, then you can get an even cheaper Euphoria for $29. You can find links to all of these products in the description below. Number 4. Microphones. Listen, if you deal with audio, sooner or later you're gonna need a decent microphone, and sooner or later you're gonna record vocals. So as your first microphone, I recommend that you get a large diaphragm condenser. An entry-level microphone which is widely available is the AKG Perception P220. It's a fairly decent microphone, and it's actually a close relative to the Neumann U87 which is a really good microphone. It costs more than 3,000 bucks. It has a low frequency roll-off, but another reason why I recommend getting this microphone and not something else, as there are plenty of candidates, is that you can mod this microphone for like 164 bucks or something at a site called microphoneparts.com. You can put in a different capsule, that's the little membrane, the microphone, the gold. And that capsule is really similar to the one in the Neumann U87, which again is a $3,000 microphone. On top of that, if you change some electronics in this microphone, you can get it sounding really similar to the Neumann U87. If you mod this, Austrian microphone, you can get a really good sounding microphone, which is quite comparable to its German cousin. If you want to find out more about this microphone and about the mods that you can do to it, please check out the links that I provided in the description below. Number 5, monitoring. I don't believe in monitoring through headphones. I believe that everyone who truly mixes needs to listen to their music through speakers. Now, don't get me wrong, headphones are great, to check a mix, and they work great, and they're quite necessary if you want to record audio. I will, or I've already made a video about headphones, and that should pop up on your screen right about now. But I still firmly believe that, if you want to listen to music the way it should be listened, and if you want to record and mix properly, I recommend that you get a pair of decent studio monitors. If you don't have a lot of money, I recommend that you get a pair of JBL LSR 305s. You can find the link in the description below. These are great little speakers that can outperform speakers that cost, multiple times more. They feature a rear port design. Now, what does that mean? Well, a speaker is basically a driver in a sealed box. If that box is completely sealed, then no air can get in or out. And when the speaker actually moves, it can't perform well because the vacuum that's created inside actually won't let them, go out the way it should go out, and it can't go out as much as it wants, and it can't go back in as fast as it wants, and that's just a problem. So the cabinet actually needs to be vented in some way, and these JBL have a vent in the back. Now these vents or ports actually produce some frequencies, or some frequencies come out of those ports, and they can oftentimes just bounce around in the room, and these frequencies are not desirable. So therefore I don't actually recommend that you put these speakers with their backs against the wall. So either you move them from the wall, but I know that that's not possible in many situations, so a better thing would be to actually make absorbers and put them in the back of the monitors so they actually suck up all of these frequencies, or most of them. I'm going to make a video on how to make absorbers, and depending on when you see this video, that video might already be out. The link should pop up on your screen, or it will be in the description below. I also recommend that you get more pairs of monitors. You can probably use your existing PC speakers as monitors, and I would plug them in as well, because you're probably used to how they sound, and you can check the differences in the mix, and sometimes even bad speakers can point out fallacies in your mix. A good pair of cheap monitors are the Fluid F5s. I also recommend getting a sub for these monitors, because a sub can actually produce some frequencies that these monitors just can't because of their size. You can actually hook up multiple monitors on the Mackie big knob or on the Behringer, and you can swap between those monitors by just pressing a button. So yeah, that completes my list. And please subscribe to my channel. Now listen, these are my suggestions for you to make a good home studio where you can get professional results, not a lot of money. I mean, you need to invest some more money into your room probably. You need some acoustic treatment, because I'm guessing that you have a bunch of bare parallel walls. Frequencies can just bounce off them and create all sorts of problems. But that really differs from situation to situation. I can't really give recommendations on that, but if you have a closet or a walk-in closet, if you kind of yell inside of it, you will probably figure out that it's not that resonant inside like it is in a bathroom, which is full of tiles and mirrors and flat glass panels, because every room kind of differs, and I'm guessing that your home studio also kind of differs. So again, you don't want to mix in a bathroom. I'm also going to make a video about DIY acoustic treatment. I will cover some basics. You don't really need to have a team of scientists come in to measure a room and to make it less resonant. If you play music in a room and it sounds like you're in a bathtub, then that room is not good to mix music in or to record in, because just sounds horrible. On top of it, you probably need to spend money on the mic stand. You also need to buy cables or maybe like a pop filter for your microphone, so all of the plosives like PBFF and all of those noises that push out a lot of air from your mouth that can distort the membrane of the microphone. And I'm sure that some of you will say that I, busted my budget and you need to buy some other gear with it. But when you buy a phone or a computer, you actually need some other stuff to go with it. You need some dongles, protective cases, a carrying case, a mouse pad, or something else. The links to buy all of these products that I just recommended in this video can be found in the description below. If you think you have better suggestions than me, then feel free to just drop them in the comments section below. I will gladly respond to them. And if you want me to cover another topic in one of my videos, just please, feel free to send me a message. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Life is too short to listen to bad music, and music is your friend, so choose your friends wisely. Me and the resident German that's sitting here behind my shoulder are out of here. So thank you guys and see ya later. Boom.